Evan, just 6 years old, unknowingly revealed a chilling truth with a simple drawing, one that would soon help solve a horrifying crime.
So you heard something?
Yeah.
What did you hear?
I thought it was glass smash, but we have changed the rug because we took the red big rug.
His parents, Paul and Natalie Hemming, were in the middle of a dark and hidden tragedy.
Paul, where do you believe Natalie to be?
I have no idea. Firstly, I'm very concerned about Natalie as well. It's been a tough time here.
She hasn't been in contact with her children. She hasn't been in contact with her family.
She was like, when we went back to his house, we kissed and cuddled and he kept trying to go further and further and further. And I kept saying, no. So I said, so basically saying you've been raped. She was like, yeah.
It felt like thunder, but it was really loud. Because Mum was laying down with...
Thames Valley Police, Suzanne speaking, how can I help?
Yes, my love. My daughter's been missing for 48 hours. We have just been up to Milton Keynes to her partner, and he says he doesn't know where she is.
Okay, right, well, can I take your daughter's name, please?
It's Natalie Hemming, Hemming. It's worrying me because it's not like her.
So, what's the specific concern that's caused you to call the police?
Him.
On May 3rd, 2016, police in Milton Keynes, England, received a distressing 911 call. Natalie had been missing for 2 days. Her husband claimed she'd left on Saturday night, briefly returned on Sunday, and was gone by Monday. With no immediate clues or evidence, authorities began a search, focusing first on the couple's home.
Well, physically stay in the areas you're in, go around them, and then let me know as you go round, making sure she's not in a cupboard or under the stairs or in the loft and bits and pieces. Thank you.
But the house appeared untouched. Nothing unusual turned up, which only deepened the mystery and pushed investigators to look for answers elsewhere. Investigators issued a media release, hoping the public could provide leads.
Natalie has been missing since just before 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Sunday the 1st of May. She hasn't been in contact with her children. She hasn't been in contact with her family. She hasn't turned up at work.
Still, one glaring detail stood out. Natalie hadn't touched her bank account since she disappeared. That was an immediate red flag. The team then discovered she hadn't gone out alone on Saturday night. She'd been with a man named Simon Dennis, someone she appeared close to. CCTV footage confirmed they were together, and Natalie looked happy in his company. This raised suspicion. Simon had been one of the last people to see her alive. Given the sudden disappearance and their connection, detectives focused on Simon. Was he hiding something? Could jealousy or rage be involved? His actions and words were now under careful review by investigators. Simon's connection to Natalie made him a key suspect. Investigators carefully examined his timeline, looking for inconsistencies or lies. Could he have harmed her after their night together? That possibility weighed heavily on the team. But as they reviewed text conversations between Simon and Natalie, the story shifted. The messages revealed a light-hearted, affectionate tone with no signs of tension or conflict.
First thing I was going to ask, if it's okay with you, is if you can show Becky around the house so she can basically what she's got is a video camera.
There are 3 kids in bed.
Okay. We'll try not to disturb them.
Because they will wake up. And once she wakes up, I'm not going to be able to talk to you because she's going to cry. Can't be done in the morning, no?
It's obviously we're looking for Natalie now. Or is the torch going to disturb her? Thank you.
So how would you describe your relationship at the moment?
At the moment, it's all right.
Natalie had even messaged her friends after their date, suggesting she was safe and in good spirits. Slowly, suspicion began to fade. The evidence didn't match a violent crime. Simon appeared genuine. With his alibi supported by data and testimony, police grew confident he wasn't involved.
Do you mind if I look at your phone?
Do you know how long I'll be without it?
Well, I'll try and get it done tonight.
Okay.
Is that alright?
If I'm honest with you, because so many people have been calling me, like throughout the day, I prefer to bring it down rather, because if someone calls me then, like, or if Natalie calls me or...
Okay, but are you telling me I can't have your phone?
Attention now turned towards someone much closer, her husband, Paul. Detectives returned to question Paul, Natalie's husband. At first glance, he acted like a worried father, concerned about his missing wife. But something didn't feel right.
Excuse me for a second. Go ahead. He will not let us take it away tonight. He wants to bring it to the station tomorrow morning.
When police asked to check his phone, Paul became tense and evasive. That single reaction raised suspicion. Why hesitate if he had nothing to hide? With Simon now cleared, Paul's odd behavior took center stage.
Okay.
Investigators wondered what secrets he might be hiding. His reluctance and defensiveness stood out. It was enough for police to take the next step. They arrested Paul on suspicion of involvement. He was no longer just the grieving husband. His actions, attitude, and the gaps in his story forced detectives to see him as their prime suspect.
I can see that you're a little bit upset, okay? It's in our interest to help you get through the process.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can get information from you if there's things you want to tell us, okay? So I don't want you sat there in floods of tears, and if you're struggling, me pushing through an interview that's too difficult.
Should I go get some tissue?
Yeah.
Back at the station, Paul appeared distressed, but detectives weren't convinced by his display. One detail stood out sharply. Paul's phone had been turned off for 2 full days while Natalie was missing. That struck investigators as strange. A husband genuinely worried would have kept it on, waiting for updates or calls. Turning it off during such a critical time didn't make sense. This red flag pushed them to investigate deeper. Was he hiding his location or avoiding detection? That possibility couldn't be ignored.
She used to live around the corner from me, so every morning we'd meet up and we'd do the school run together.
Yeah.
You know, she's a very caring person, but he used to make her feel really bad. He just wasn't nice to her. She didn't have a nice life with him.
The emotional act he showed now felt like a mask. Officers grew more certain that Paul knew far more than he claimed.
And then there was a guy at work called Simon, and like if he went for lunch, he'd get her a drink and stuff. And I could see that she was liking him. Yeah. And I said, Natalie, please don't look for Simon for that affection. You need to deal with Paul because of the kids, and I know how unhappy you are.
Every word, every reaction was now being analyzed under a microscope. During the investigation, a friend of Natalie's shared details that raised even more doubts. Her comments hinted at trouble in the relationship, painting Paul as controlling. With this new insight, detectives interviewed Paul once again. This time, he seemed calm and confident, but something still felt off.
Okay, so it's the 5th of May, 2016, we're interviewing 4. If you can put yourself back to Sunday, just talk me through what you said and what you did.
Okay, so I was just preparing dinner. She came in, the kids came into our kitchen where the glass table is, they sat down. I can't really describe it very well, but she just wasn't herself. I gave her a cuddle and I gave her a kiss here. I was like, what's really wrong with you? And then I gave her a kiss here, and then I was just like doing that on her because she quite likes that. So I was just trying to be a little bit more kind of sensitive is the word for it. She said, I didn't enjoy last night. I wasn't very, something happened, and I was like, well, what happened? And then she was like, basically, I've been flirting with a guy at work, and which I knew about anyway, and I was like, doesn't matter. We'll just put it all in the past, we'll start fresh. And she was like, when we went back to his house, we kissed and cuddled, and he kept trying to go further and further and further, and I kept saying no, and he kept going a bit further and further and further. And then he made me panic so much that I just gave in. And so I said, so what happened? And she was like, we had basically sex or intercourse. I think she said, we had sex. And I was like, did you consent to it? And she was like, no, I didn't. So I said, so basically saying you've been raped. She was like, yeah.
The version of events he described didn't match what Natalie's friends had said. Instead of clearing confusion, his statements created more questions.
When she told you what happened the night before, how did you feel?
I felt I let her down. That's how I felt. She was like, I just need to get away. And I was like, fine, if you need to do that, you need to do that. That's fine by me. Don't worry about the kids, don't worry about anything. So then I thought, right, I'll go to bed. So I went upstairs, got myself all changed, cleaned my teeth, washed my face, and just went to bed.
And you obviously went up to bed.
Yeah.
Slept in your bed.
Yeah.
Okay. Woke up in the morning.
Yeah.
Natalie wasn't there.
Yeah.
Put yourself back to Sunday. Natalie's just returned home with the kids. And did you speak to anyone at all overnight?
No.
Did you have to deal with the kids at all?
No.
Okay. And did you leave the house at all?
No.
Okay.
Detectives briefly reconsidered Simon, but the inconsistencies now pointed more clearly to Paul. His flat tone, lack of emotion, and vague responses triggered alarms.
This will be the suspect's vehicle. Hemming Miss Per. So these times are the times that he claims that he is indoors. But his vehicle is out and about, moving. Fortunately, you can't see he's in the vehicle, but he's hitting the cameras. So he's either lying to us or someone else is using his vehicle.
He was no longer acting like a heartbroken husband. Slowly, investigators began to believe that Paul was crafting a false narrative to mislead them.
Would anyone else have either used yours or Natalie's car overnight?
Natalie could have used my car, because my car's parked in front.
Yep.
But I can't guarantee whether she did or not. I don't know.
Okay.
Paul had no idea that detectives were setting a trap. His answers were being cross-checked, and his movements were under review. Then came a breakthrough. Footage from his car's GPS system showed an odd, carefully planned route. He had avoided traffic cameras and police-patrolled roads, which raised serious concern. Why take such a path unless there was something to hide?
You've told us that you did not leave your house Sunday night into Monday.
Correct.
Yet your car does leave the house. What was your car doing out at that time?
No comment.
When confronted with the data, Paul's calm mask began to slip. He hadn't expected the police to uncover his route so quickly.
Can you understand how a picture has started to build for us? We've got a partner who's having an affair. There's marital issues. She comes home. We believe there's a disclosure. Paul, I believe you know something more that you're not telling us, and now is your opportunity to tell us what actually happened that night.
No comment.
The evidence showed he was deliberately steering clear of detection. This pattern, along with his earlier behavior, tightened the net. Investigators felt they were now getting closer to the truth about what had really happened. The police decided to speak with Natalie's young son, Evan. Though just 6 years old, his innocent words would prove vital.
I want you to tell me about the last time you saw Mummy.
Quite a long time ago.
Quite a long time ago?
She left our house at night because she was sick and she hasn't been back for quite a long time now.
Oh, how did you know she was sick?
Dad told us. I heard her and I wondered what it was, so I looked downstairs and then I peeked through the little door and then I saw sick in the bowl.
Okay.
As the questioning began, Evan's descriptions of their home and family life revealed details no one had expected. Most shocking was a drawing he made, an image of the living room, carefully sketched with surprising accuracy.
So you heard something?
Yeah.
What did you hear?
I thought it was glass smash, but it wasn't.
But this innocent artwork held hidden clues.
It felt like thunder, but it was really loud. Mum was laying down, but we have changed the rug because we took the red big rug to Daddy's work so I can have a wash.
Okay. So Dad's taken the big red rug to work for a wash?
Yeah.
Okay, so what shape is your living room? Can you show me?
It led investigators back to the house for a thorough forensic search. Their efforts uncovered bloodstains in the trunk of Paul's car. This grim discovery changed everything.
We've got lots of spots of blood on the corner of the coffee table. So if you've got the drawing that little Evan drew, and at the end where he's drawn the wet patch on the rug, that corner of the coffee table's got lots of little spots of blood on it.
Natalie was no longer missing, but presumed murdered. Evan's simple drawing had become the key to uncovering a terrible secret that would shake the entire community. The discovery of blood evidence shifted the investigation into high gear. Police believed Paul had killed Natalie after learning of her affair with Simon. They suspected he disposed of her body to cover up the crime. During intense questioning, Paul remained calm and cunning, denying all accusations despite mounting proof.
Do you recognise that car?
Yes.
Is that your car?
That's my company car, yes.
Okay. Paul, what can you tell me about the blood in this car?
The blood could either be from myself, it could be from Natalie, because Natalie had access and was insured to drive the car.
Okay. The photo on the front page,
yes,
where there's an arrow, there's a drop of blood.
Okay.
What can you tell me about this?
I do recall certainly Natalie complaining that she'd had cuts. I have had cuts.
I cut myself yesterday, slightly,
Yeah.
and it had a little bit of surface blood in it, but it didn't drip. It wasn't airborne. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's what these blood drips are.
I do know, certainly in our house, if we cut ourselves on something like that, the first thing we do is, ow. Could that be airborne?
He carefully avoided admitting any involvement, showing a cold, calculating side.
Paul, where do you believe Natalie to be?
I have no idea.
With no confession forthcoming, authorities decided to take the case to the Crown Prosecution Service.
Can you see the picture that we're building and the concerns that we have?
Firstly, I'm very concerned about Natalie as well.
You don't seem very upset.
It's been a tough time here, and my mind is in my heart I know she's not dead. In my heart I know that. I wish Natalie would walk through the door, but I cannot make miracles happen.
They charge Paul with murder, confident in their evidence.
You were the last person to see her alive. You say that Natalie returned home to you on Sunday and disclosed to you that she had been raped. Oh my God, amazing, she tells her friend Becky on the Sunday morning. We had sex 3 times. We say those are not the words of a lady who has been raped. We say that Saturday night you were worried about her being out with a guy from work who you knew fancied her. We say this all came to a head on the Sunday night when she returned home and you found out she had had sex with another man and you killed her. Do you have anything to say?
What you're saying is that I have killed my partner. I have disposed of her body. I have tidied the house, made it look pristine, managed to cook them dinner and many more things without them knowing.
That's exactly what we're saying, Paul.
Impossible.
Sir,
yes.
The Crown Prosecution Service made a decision. We're going to go through that now with you. Okay? The officer's going to give you the caution.
Okay.
Then read out.
Just wait here. Just understand where you are. Paul, you don't have to say anything. It may harm your defence if you didn't mention now something which you later rely on in court. But anything you do say may be given in evidence. Paul, you're charged that between the 1st of May 2016 and the 2nd of May 2016 at 7 Alderney Avenue, Newton Leys, Milton Keynes, that you murdered Natalie Hemming. This is contrary to common law. Do you have anything to say?
I'm not guilty.
Meanwhile, search teams expanded efforts to locate Natalie's body. The community watched anxiously as the tragedy unfolded, hoping for justice and answers to this dark mystery.
So, it's worth mentioning the background to that. So, the person we spoke to said that she saw a dark
hatchback-ish
car, parts, at what was described as in an odd position.
A double gate.
Close to, which effectively goes towards the railway line.
Yeah. She also said that she saw a man walking up from the railway line up the hill and she thought it was all a bit odd.
19 days after Natalie vanished, police received a crucial 911 call. They discovered her body near Charlotte's Cross, Northamptonshire, about 10 miles from home. The scene confirmed a brutal crime, fractures, bruises, and signs of violence.
Police emergency.
Yeah, it looks like there's a dead body beside the road in Chandler's Cross in some bushes. You can see legs. It's got no clothes on, but
right,
I'm a bit freaked out about it. I don't know how long it's been there. I've just been mowing the lawn.
I can confirm we've got officers on the way. Are you
Right.
still outside?
I'm here.
Okay,
yeah.
if I could ask you
Yeah.
to look out for the officers and just wave
Yeah.
them down, and I'll ask them to look out
Yeah.
for you. Okay.
Okay.
A jury at Luton Crown Court is considering its verdict in the case of Milton Keynes man Paul Hemming, who pleads not guilty to murdering his partner Natalie at their home in Newton Regis in May. Her body was discovered in woodland at Chandler's Cross in Hertfordshire.
Evidence showed Paul's controlling nature had turned deadly. Unable to accept her leaving or finding happiness elsewhere, he ended her life.
Just so glad we got justice for Natalie and for her kids and for Margaret.
That's the outcome we wanted. That's what we wanted. We wanted him to be found guilty of murder, not manslaughter.
At trial, Paul claimed manslaughter, insisting it was accidental. But the evidence told a harsher truth. He was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life, with a minimum of 20 years. Paul showed no remorse throughout, revealing a cold and dangerous man.
This act followed episodes of domestic abuse experienced by Natalie at Paul's hands, and his actions have left 3 children to grow up without their mother.
Feel no guilt in laughter. She would know how much you care. Feel no sorrow in a smile that she is not here to share. For if you keep those moments, you will never be apart, and she will live forever, locked safely within your heart.
Natalie's tragic story is a stark warning about the dangers of control, abuse, and the urgent need to recognize warning signs before it's too late.